much, Ellie, and thanks, Saad, for kicking us off with such a fun intro, and always the numbers, get us excited. I just wanted to start off by saying it's so exciting to be here with this global community. I mean, I was thinking about who all I'm going to be able to talk to and who I've been talking to during this, just the first few days, and it's really amazing. We've got folks from Florida, from Israel, from Malaysia, from Indonesia. It's really, this is really, it gives me such an excitement and such a high, of bringing together the global village that Saad said, that Saad talked about. So I'm Promita Chatterji. I'm Director of Journals for Digital Commons. I work on the Journals module. I'm the product manager for the Digital Commons Journals module, and I've worked on Digital Commons for about 12 years now, a little bit on the repository side as well as on the journal side. And certainly the journal side has been the big passion, and it's such a delight to be able to work with my colleagues, Islam, Dina, and Ibrahim, who were presenting the workshop yesterday, and so many others who are here. So today I'm really delighted to share with you the launch of our newest release for Digital Commons Journals, our new designs. And I'll be walking you through a little bit of the new designs and what you can do with them. So here's a quick view of our agenda. And it's a short talk, so I won't spend too much time talking about that. I did want to start with an overview of the Digital Commons Journals module. I think Saad had a few numbers. Saad, I have to differ with you because I think we've reached over 307 journals, or 3,007 journals now. So we've reached that milestone. Yeah. And we have over 400 institutions using our journals and across 40 countries. It is a comprehensive platform, so we call it soup to nuts. So everything from submitting, the editorial management, the peer review workflows to the publishing as well. We work with all sorts of institutions, and this is so exciting. We work with everything from small liberal arts colleges to Ivy League universities to big research universities. And more recently, as you're going to hear a little bit during this conference, we also work with regional and national consortial partners, as well as a lot of small small academic scholarly societies. As Saad mentioned, Digital Commons Journals content has been accessed by 500 million, I got to say that number, readers across the globe. This is just the journals part. And, as Saad mentions, we have a very long history of supporting, and I'll be talking about that, supporting open access journal publishing. If you were here at the workshop yesterday, you might have heard several of these questions. These are questions that we hear editors and publishers, institutional publishers, come to us with all the time. These are the challenges and problems that they often face. The need for a stable and professional site, the ability to get more global visibility for their unique research content, improving that editorial and peer review experience, so getting more submissions and speeding up peer review and doing it mostly efficiently. Those are some of the questions and the problems that we talk a lot with our editors. Also, on the other hand, the importance of impact and internationalization, as Islam and Dina and Ibrahim talked about so much during our workshop yesterday, and also the requirements for getting indexed. These are things that people are concerned with. And Digital Commons has always been working on creating a product as well as certain services to help editors with these challenges. So for our platform, when we say it's a comprehensible and customizable platform, these are some of the key things that we look at. So how can journals professionalize? How can they easily create something that's professional and credible and that can signal to the particular research community that this research is valuable to be reading? We also want to create comprehensive tools for peer review and editorial management that helps editors do their job better and faster. We have those industry-leading visibility and metrics. You're going to be hearing a little bit more about these from my colleague Krista, talking about the dashboards, but also some of the metrics that we display on our journals. We also offer a lot of expert guidance. So one of the wonderful things about Digital Commons is being able to work with our teammates in consulting services, but also for some of our journals, they work with a strategic advisor. And we also offer several publishing services to simplify the production process, so things like typesetting, but also providing feeds, and also some expert guidance. And all of this is based on a secure and trusted infrastructure. And as we see more and more these days, those kind of worries about security are increasing. And that's one of the things that you can trust when you work with Digital Commons is the platform. So over the years, we've worked with thousands of editors, and we've gotten so much input about the evolution of how scholarly research has been changing. But we've also heard lots of other sides. So we've, over the years, we've gotten a little bit of feedback that, while the comprehensiveness of the platform is great, we're seeing change. We're always seeing changes in the scholarly landscape and environment, as we heard a little bit from Max and Judy this morning as well. So this is something that, is continuing. It's not a new thing, but we've definitely seen a bit of an acceleration in the last 5 years ago or so. So some of these things can include the evolution of online reading and search experiences. We're definitely seeing a difference in the way that people access journal content globally, more and more using phones or other kind of devices. We're seeing the increasing need for multimedia, so things like videos, podcasts, images, et cetera. The PDF is no longer, the textual PDF is no longer the only, form of journal content. Definitely the growth of open access models is changing some of the scholarly landscape. And also, expanded information standards. So more and more the use of things like ORCID, DOI. And I think in this age of AI, we're going to see even more, sort of verifiers of trust and security and research integrity. So this is kind of the bigger landscape that we're dealing with. But Digital Commons has been part of that for a long time, as Sat had mentioned. So, I wanted to just give you a little bit of a timeline and some highlights of the DC Journal's history. We worked actually in 2001, way back 25 years ago, with the California Digital Library to launch one of the first Diamond open access models hosted by an institution. And in 2007, we had been publishing journals that were published by the Berkeley Electronic Press publishing imprint. But at that point in 2007, we made a strategic decision, seeing this growth of Diamond open access, of institutionally published journals and institutional repositories. We made a switch over and started prioritizing those models. So we've been a really big partner with independent publishers for many, many years. In 2012, we introduced many publishing services like helping mint DOIs, helping with archiving. And then in 2019, we added even more services for journals that were looking for that extra, that were extra ambitious about their goals. So we were offering things like typesetting and strategic advising services. And then this year, I'm so excited that we're about to enter a new era with some new journal designs that help further professionalize Digital Commons journals and work with the community. As we talked to our editors over the years, we heard from them many different comments, but usually they fell into 4 buckets. And you'll see some of the verbatim quotes here, that was a fun part of the project that I was able to do. So we heard that editors wanted a modern look. They needed something more updated. They wanted more functionality. So for example, I talked a little bit about the use of multimedia, of being able to showcase different kinds of content. So more functionality around that. They wanted more control. So that was a really interesting insight to me, that for editors and publishers nowadays, a modern web experience involves being able to do things more on their own, to be able to kind of get in there and tinker. That's what we're used to doing with other sites that we engage with, and they expect to do it with journals. And then finally, this idea of building community, which we heard about a little bit yesterday during our workshop, and we've been hearing about today during Max's talk as well. But the idea that starting a journal essentially is starting a community of passionate researchers, people who are passionate about a topic and want to come together and, engage with it. So they wanted, our editors wanted to convey some of that community building on the platforms that they were working with. So that's something that we're looking at as well. Okay, so now I want to take you a little bit behind the curtain or under the hood, if you will, and talk a little bit about our approach. So we heard that we needed, some updates to our journals platform. And, we engaged in a process of design research and ideation with our community. And this started from the beginning with some of these interviews you saw the quotes from earlier, identifying user needs, doing a lot of surveys, and understanding the challenges that our users were facing. We did a lot of prototyping, and many of you might have already spoken to me during the prototyping process. We did have, we have such a generous community of Digital Commons users, and people love to talk. So I, thank you if you were one of the people that I spoke with, thank you for your time, and certainly a lot of our consulting services group as well has been incredibly important with that input. So we started visualizing solutions, doing mock-ups. We also talked with a lot of our industry partners. Dominic's here from the DOAJ. We talked with Crossref. We are trying to validate across what are some of the future needs in terms of developing journals as we grow. And then we used some idea boards. We did a lot of Zoom calls, et cetera, to refine our concepts collaboratively. So the key principles that came out of all of these research were 4, and these were our guiding principles in developing our new designs. We know that editors really need a way to signal credibility and professionalization with their journals. That's key. So making, a lot of this is done by the editors themselves, but if there was anything that we can do from the platform or the product to make this a little bit more out of the box, that was something that we looked at. So that's probably one of the top principles for our new designs. Next, the idea of a modern journal platform, a lot of it really did go back to this idea of how are users accessing the content. So being responsive and having an uncluttered and easy to navigate site was really key. And responsiveness, I can't tell you how much, I learned a lot through this process, but how much that sort of conveys for folks. It needs to be easy to update and customize, that self-service aspect, the tinkering thing that I talked about before, and also something that's ready for multimedia and new forms of scholarship. So those were our 4 key guiding principles. And then, so we were able to launch earlier this year. You'll see on the right-hand side one of the sites it's published by the Guitar Foundation of America and hosted by the University of Denver, Soundboard Scholar. Wonderful research. I highly recommend some of you, especially those of you from Berkeley, to take a look at this journal. They've been taking advantage of some of the visual components of our sites, and we've been sharing our new launch with a lot of our community. So I wanted to show you one of the sites, and I'm gonna try and do a video. And, because I know we couldn't do live demos, but I am going to show you a few different sites and try to talk through it, and hopefully I'll keep up. So right now you're seeing Maya America, which is a journal that's published by Kennesaw University. And I'm showing you a couple other journals. So you can see that we work with the journals to kind of do some unique branding for each of the sites. So you saw Soundboard Scholar again. And here's Maya America. Here's the responsiveness that I was talking about, so that these journals really do respond to every kind of screen. And I'm going to walk you through a few of the different things, which is our top-level navigation. We move from the side to the top, the main branding banner, a current issue section, a featured content section that you'll see on the screen, an area for current articles, and this is all pulling by API. So it's all kind of automated and easy to configure. A most popular article section. And I'm going to show you the same sections on a couple other journals in just a second, I think. So back to Soundboard Scholar, you'll see all of the similar sections. You can see that the editors can change the names and titles. We've also recently included the activity map, the very popular activity map showing real-time downloads for our journal. So that's now available. A couple other things around the editing experience. So you can see I turn on edit mode. It's a very intuitive editing experience where editors can add images, text, and articles, and they can also go, and I'm going to show you right now some custom pages. So yesterday we talked about things like the aims and scope page, the editorial board, about journal and how important that is. So this, in the top navigation, we have those, as well as ability to add things like podcasts, as you'll see. And the editing experience for these custom pages, which I think I'm going to show you, what they look like. So this is something that we recently released. So it creates a very unified look. And the editing experience of that happens through this admin tab on the nav bar, which I think I'm going to click on right now. And it's pretty easy. You can create a new page. You can enter the title, you can enter SEO terms, and then if you have created a page, you can go in and edit the draft using WYSIWYG tools. Currently, editors have to use HTML coding or they work with their CS team. So this has made a dramatically different experience to just quickly, add content. And a lot of the times, yesterday we heard how important it is to keep those things like aims and scope updated. So really happy to have been able to release these new custom pages. We will be adding more elements. You just saw the footer. We can add lots of ways to do branding. And there's a couple more, I think, journals that I showed. But so that's a very fast demo, and I will be around afterwards. So please come in if you want to look at it more in depth. I'm happy to show you. Just a couple before and afters, so that's always fun to do. So on the left-hand side, you're seeing the VAD journal, which is a cardiology journal out of Texas Medical Center, extremely interesting medical research. And you can see they're using our old sites, which was a little bit blocky, a little cluttered, a little 90s looking, and the newer version on the right with the top level navigation and just a more spacious and elegant look. Another before and after, this is one of the journals that we saw during the demo, the Journal of Educational Leadership in Action. The editors of this journal actually took the opportunity of moving to the new platform to kind of rebrand and redo their logo. So you can see that they've updated their logo. They've created a really fresh, modern look. They're using some of our image capabilities, and it looks fantastic. Again, a few of the little highlights here. So from the new redesigns, the responsive design, which I want to, again, talk about how crucial that is to this kind of modern experience. The intuitive navigation, moving the navigation from the side to the top, and also like creating very standardized but a little bit customizable navigation menus. The simplified customization options, it's really easy to do inline editing, and flexible content curation, and also the custom pages, which I talked about a little bit. So it's really easy to add content using WYSIWYG tools that are fairly intuitive. And this is, again, key to that professionalization value proposition that I mentioned before. Some enhancements that we've recently released after the initial launch is this readership activity map. And very soon coming up, you'll be seeing some intro text, which will be available at the very top of the journal underneath the banner. And I think that's really key to help readers understand what the journal is about. So that's been an important element that we've been working on. So a few things about why our editors are excited. And actually, that slide goes really fast, but I think it's okay because, it's all going very fast. I wanted to share some of these quotes, which our editors and publishers have talked about in their own words. So some of the feedback we've been getting is that, having the new designs is helping librarians engage with more scholars on their campus, especially younger scholars or student journal editors. we're a little bit like, okay, those journals are fine. I get it, they work, but this is not this is not how we want to share our research. So having the new designs are great that way. The editor of Maya America talked about how important it was to have this responsive design because so many of their readers are based in Latin America where they're accessing the content on phones. We also heard from a few folks where they're actually saving some money because a lot of their students were using WordPress sites, and that was taking a lot of staff time from the IT department. Coming soon, really quickly, we're working on a lot more. This infrastructure is easy to build on, so a lot more abilities to showcase multimedia, different kind of galleries for actually a lot of, I was talking to someone with a fine arts journal yesterday, so ability to share some of that kind of content and different ways to view articles as well, like tile views, list views, et cetera, as well as building a language selector, which I think is so important for our international audiences. And what I'm working on actually this next quarter and early part of next year, which I know some of you are very excited about, is the redesigning our article pages. So our article pages are still on our classic DC sites. They're linking to them, but we want to be able to display the article pages, create different versions, and perhaps even have some full text content in HTML. And just a little bit of information on getting started. If you're here and you're interested, it's very, very easy to get started. Please contact your consulting services representative. We've definitely got a lot of interest. Over 120 journals are exploring the designs. We have 30 in the process, and actually I think 30 are live now, so this number is a little old. But it's pretty easy to get started, and we can help you, if you want to take the opportunity to think about a rebrand or a refresh. We have some extra services. I think Ellie will approve that we have some extra services available for those of you that move. And basically that's it from me.